Hi, we're back on your favorite daily podcast, A Couple of Things, a podcast about things. Today is going to be a UX episode. I haven't done that in a while, and I'm going to be talking about the aesthetic usability effect. So a lot of the time when people think about design, they think about like visual appeal, and all of those things, which is good, which is a very important part of the design and the user experience and all of those things. If you even take it out of software design or digital design, if you think about a book, although people always say don't judge a book by its cover, most of the time, if the book cover looks boring or badly designed, you're not likely going to want to read the book. But if it has an attractive cover, very great visuals, then you're immediately drawn towards it, and then you want to see, oh, what is this book about? And then maybe you flip the pages, you read the blurb at the back, those kinds of things. So the same thing applies when you're designing digital products. While you're not buying a book because, or while you're not going to read a book just because the cover is great, or even though you may buy a book because the cover is great, if the content of the book is not great, then you're going to be, not only would you be like upset, so you're not just going to be upset because the book itself is not great, you're going to be extra upset because you were quote unquote deceived by the cover. And again, this is the same with digital products and digital experiences. If you are trying to choose between two products and you don't really have any context, maybe you don't even look at reviews or whatever, your first immediate reaction is you're going to look at the one that looks nicer, and what looks nicer can differ by person, from person to person, culture to culture, and so forth. So you're most likely, if you have two options, the exact same thing, you're most likely going to go with the one that looks nicer to you. And that's very important because as much as we don't like to admit it, a lot of digital products are basically the same thing. Like if you're in a category, say you enable people to save or manage their money or whatever, all the apps are basically, or track their expenses, whatever, all the apps are basically doing the same thing. Is the exact same thing that they're doing. Maybe there might be some features here and there that are different, or pricing might be slightly different, but generally speaking, it's the same thing. And sometimes that initial first reaction comes down to the visual thing, because that's the first thing that you interact with in any context. The first thing you interact with is what you see, the visual. Even when you meet a person, the first thing that draws you to the person is how they look, and then you start talking to them. Or they look friendly, are they smiling, do they look well dressed or not, like those kinds of things. Those are immediate snap judgments that you make based on what you see, which is why aesthetics very, very important. That's why even if you're trying to rent a house or buy a house, they always make it look tidy and neat and not like disorganized or whatever, because aesthetics again. Now, this is a double-edged sword because, hi, it's me, reminding you to subscribe and also to send questions so that I have more things to talk about. The link to submit questions is in the show notes. Okay, let's get back into the episode. So this is a double-edged sword because when people are immediately drawn to something, because of how it looks, how pretty, well structured, whatever, as long as it's aesthetically pleasing, if that's the first thing that draws them, expectations are higher, especially with digital products. It's like, oh, this thing looks really nice, so it must be easy to use. It's just like this unconscious association that people make. And that means that you have to deliver, because the beautiful aesthetics, the pleasing aesthetics that you have designed has given this expectation that, oh, okay, these guys know what they're doing. This should be easy to use. This should be a smooth ride. This should be amazing. And so you're already starting with already higher than normal expectations. So if the product is then not so usable, or it's difficult to figure out the functionality, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, it doesn't act the way people expect, or maybe it's difficult to do something that people think should be really easy to do, then it's like doubles the negative reaction. So let's say if it was just okay looking, not too bad looking, not too aesthetically pleasing, but not like terrible, and I would have rated it a 3 for experience. Maybe it's not the best experience, but it's not the worst experience either. But let's say now I looked at it and it was like a 10 over 10 from a visually aesthetically pleasing level, and then I start using it and it's a bad experience. I'm going to rate it lower than a 3, a 2 or a 1, because expectations were already way higher because of all the prettiness. And it's the same thing with the book example I was giving earlier. If you buy a book or you rent a book from your library and the cover is just okay, it's not like, ooh, wow, an amazing book cover, and it's mid, you're like, okay, it was a mid book. But then if you were ginger to buy the book because of the cover, like, wow, such a great cover, and you were drawn to it for that, and it's mid, you're going to be like very disappointed, like rate it 1 star. Or you buy something, that a tool that looks easy to use because it looks so nice, but then you start trying to figure out how it works and it's harder than you expected, then you're going to be more disappointed. So that is the cautionary note in the aesthetic usability effect. So definitely have good visuals, be aesthetically pleasing, do all the visual work that you need to do, but make sure that the experience, the usability, the functionality matches that or even exceeds that, because you don't want people to be disappointed by the experience after you've given them this high expectation because your visuals are on point. That just leads to even higher levels of dissatisfaction. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Bye. And I was trying to think of examples of digital products where I've experienced this. There are some, but I can't really remember all of them. But if anyone comes to mind as you're listening to this and you're not shy, please put in the comments. I want to know. All right. Bye for real. Thank you for listening to today's episode of A Couple of Things. If there was anything you found interesting or insightful, or you enjoyed the episode, please do share to someone or multiple people. Like, leave a comment, and definitely do subscribe and all the nice things. Bye.